everyone, so today I'll be sharing with you guys my favorite Moroccan dish, which will be kسكس. I asked my mom to make it for me, so I'll be filming how she makes it for me. So to get started on making this dish, we chopped up some tomatoes and onions. The size is up to you, so if you want them to be shown, you cut them bigger. If you don't want them to see them at all, just chop them up smaller. Some of the spices we used was some turmeric, some black pepper, salt, Moroccan smin, and ginger. If you have ginger powder, that would be better to use, but we didn't have today. So the first thing you're going to want to do is pour in about a cup of oil into your pot and let the chicken cook for a little while. And then while that's happening, just add in the salt and the Moroccan smin. And just mix it all in and try to get the oil and the smin once it starts melting all over the chicken, and let it cook for a little bit. Once the chicken looks like it's starting to cook, you want to go ahead and flip it on to the other side and just try to mix it in a little bit more. After that, you're going to want to add in your onions and mix them in with the chicken. Make sure that all the oils and salt and smin get all over everything. Try to keep the onions from getting on the side of the pot so that they doesn't burn. Try to keep them at the on the bottom of the pot instead of riding up to the top in some of those places you can see. So just try to brush them down. So while your chicken is cooking, go ahead and measure out the amount of kسكس you want to cook. We measured out 5 cups because we wanted a little bit left over. My mom wants to make kسكس with lbin, so we just did a little bit of extra. After you measure out the kسكس, you're going to want to go ahead and wash it. You can pour in about, don't put too much water, maybe 3 cups. So we put 5 cups of kسكس, so 3 cups of water. Just rinse it in. Try to wet all the kسكس. So once you finish rinsing out your kسكس, you're going to want to drain it. You can put it in a strainer, or you can just do it by hand like my mom did, whatever you'd like. After that, you want to go ahead and add in your tomatoes to your chicken. Just make sure that the onions have started to soften out a little bit. Then mix it all in. Just make sure everything is mixing. Once you've added your tomatoes, you're going to want to add in the seasonings that we talked about earlier. So the turmeric, the black pepper, and the ginger paste. If you have powdered ginger, that would be better. But honestly, it's up to you. Ginger is ginger. Once you've mixed in your tomatoes, spices, onions to the chicken, let it cook for a little bit. And while that's cooking, go ahead and add some oil to your kسكس. This is going to help the kسكس not stick together once you put it to cook. And then just rub it through your hands to make sure you don't have any balls stuck together, to make sure everything is as evenly spread as possible, so that when you do go to cook it, it doesn't stick up into balls and then you have doughy balls of kسكس. I think this part is the most important in making the kسكس, because you really have to spend time breaking up those little balls that form once you add in the oil and the water. Because if you go ahead and cook it and it has those little balls, once it's cooked, once it's fully cooked, they will become doughy and they won't be evenly spread out and nice. So once the chicken has started to cook, you're going to notice that it's starting to brown on top, or you can check it with a fork to see if it's starting to shred apart. And when that happens, you're going to want to add in enough water to cover the chicken and cover the tomatoes, onions, and everything, and let it boil for a little while before you add in your vegetables. Okay, now that you've gotten all the little balls or lumps out of the kسكس, you want to go ahead and move it into a steamer basket. And then again, just run the kسكس through your hand to make sure there's nothing stuck together, and kind of flatten it out, not too much, but just flatten it out so that it cooks evenly once it goes on the stove. Once you're sure that you've gotten any lumps out of the kسكس, go ahead and put it over some boiling water and let it steam for about 15 minutes or until you see the steam starting to rise. Now we're gonna go ahead and add in our vegetables. We already added in some turnips. You can cut the vegetables however big or small you want, and you can also put as many or as little vegetables in this dish as you want. It's totally up to you. So for us, we only put turnips, some carrots, and later on we'll be adding the pumpkin and chickpeas. Okay, so once you notice that there's steam coming out from the pot, you're going to want to go ahead and transfer your kسكس into a plate or a bowl so that you can mix it through again and try to take out any lumps that formed while it was cooking. Okay, so now we're going to add in our salt. We added in about half a tablespoon of sea salt. So again, the salt is up to you if you want to add a little bit more depending on your taste, or a little bit less. It's totally up to you. Once you've mixed in your salt, you're going to want to start to spread the kسكس. So to do this, you're going to need to wet the kسكس a little bit with some water just to cool it down and help you break it down with your hands. So we poured in a little bit of water, and then my mom is going to start running the kسكس through her hands just to break up any lumps that formed while it was cooking. So in total, you're going to be doing this about 3 times from when you started cooking the kسكس till it's ready to be plated. The first time is when you first put it onto the steamer. The second time would be about 15 minutes from then. And then once you put it on again, you're going to leave it to cook for maybe another 10 minutes or until you see the steam start to rise. And then you're going to take it off, put it in your plate or your bowl, and run it through your hands to make sure there's no more lumps. And once that's done, you're going to go ahead and plate it. So once you notice that the kسكس has started to double in size like you see here in the video, you're going to want to go ahead and put it back to steam some more. It's going to steam for about 10 to 15 minutes more, or until you see the steam starting to rise once again. So once you notice that your vegetables have cooked at least halfway, you're going to want to add in your pumpkin. We chose to add in the pumpkin towards the end because the pumpkin for us cooks really fast, and we don't want it to become like very squishy and mushed up with the vegetables towards the end. This is up to you, but you can add a little bit of parsley and then just for flavor, and then take it out at the end, or you can leave it in and eat it. It's totally up to you. So once your vegetables have cooked, you're going to want to add in some smin. If you don't have smin, it's just like aged salted butter. You can also use ghee. When I Google it, the closest thing that comes up to smin is ghee. So if you can get some ghee, you can also add that in. So now that all the vegetables have cooked and your kسكس has finished cooking, you're going to want to go ahead and transfer it to somewhere where you'll be plating it, or you put it in a tagine. You can put it in a plate, in a like a little bowl. It's totally up to you. So the first thing you're going to want to do is saturate the kسكس with the vegetable and chicken broth that you just cooked. So you want to saturate the whole entire kسكس so that you make sure like no parts are dry when you start eating it. And then once you've done that, you can go ahead and start placing your chicken and vegetables. There is no correct way in doing this. It is totally, again, up to you. Okay guys, so you've made it to the end of this video. This is how our kسكس turned out. We decided to add some chickpeas on the top of it. If you guys decide to try this recipe, please let me know down in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Come back again.